process of going out has been completely bamboozled. And I think that's where Jersey government, I think they've let everybody down, really, to be honest. And I'd like to see anyone tell me what the positives are. The Jersey Hospitality Association with Marcus, before with Simon Saw, they've got to stop being political. They've got to push the politicians, not sit as a politician. They've got to represent from the floor up, not looking down. In my opinion, I don't think the JHA should be subscribed. You shouldn't have to pay. If it's about numbers, it's about being almost a union, isn't it? So the more people that are involved with it, the stronger you are. My industry has always been full of people that start at the bottom. We need those people.
Yeah.
We need them. We need the housekeepers. We need the cleaners. We need the KPs. We need we're answerable to the waiters. We're answerable to the management. We're answerable to the room service. We're answerable to the bar. We cook for the staff. So if we haven't fed them properly, they're going to be shit in front of the house. So from our perspective, we've got our fingers in all these pies. And if we balls one up, we're in a whole lot of trouble, aren't we? And we've got a fantastic island with fantastic people. And ultimately, that's what we should be looking after and getting it right, because happiness attracts happiness.
So our previous episode was 1 year and a half ago, pretty much. About that. Yeah, a lot changed, I would say, during that time.
God, Jesus. Thank you, Simon Saw, you bellend.
So how are things, in hospitality from your point of view? In 1.5 years, what has changed in good or what has changed in bad? Well,
there's about 5 avenues that have changed since we had our last conversation. And most of what I said has come true, I'd say. We've got multicultural people coming through the door that are all stuck to 9-month visas, which are ultimately proving useless. You can't get the visas quick enough. When you do get them, they're still only here for 6 months rather than 9 months, because the seasons are getting shorter and you can't, because the island now is becoming so much more seasonal. Produce has gone up tenfold. Booze is going up. The atmosphere on the island is changing. And it's becoming really
in bed?
Yeah, I think so. It's becoming really corporate. I don't see the smiles that we used to see. I don't see the buzz. I stop at the bus station and sometimes walk to the other bus station where the weighbridge is. And the vibe just isn't what it used to be. It's not happy. I think people are drinking before they go out. In the hotel at the moment, and lots of people are telling me, Salvadori down at Sorrento, we're all 20-30% down. We're doing all right as a hotel because we
combination of beds.
Well, we have rooms. Rooms give us the footfold to fill the restaurant, regardless.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at people that are purely relying on footfold, they're going out, they're ordering cheap, they're having 1 or 2 drinks rather than 6 or 7. The whole process of going out has been completely bamboozled. And I think that's where Jersey government and, the powers that be, as I said last time, I think they've let everybody down, really, to be honest. And I'd like to see anyone tell me what the positives are. So let's go down to the basics of, okay, come to the island and work. From Romania, England, Poland, Portugal even.
Outside, basically.
Come. Okay, yeah, how much is rent? Well, it's 1,200 to 1,300 for a 1-bedroom. $2,000 if you want to bring a family, and then it just keeps going up. But can I buy? No, not for 10 years. Okay. What's the stability of the island with, my job? Well, it's on a year-to-year basis, isn't it, really?
It's only 9 months.
Yeah, it's,
pretty much.
If you are entitled to come and work full-time without any visas, why would you come here? And that's the question, is why would you come when everything is so expensive? So the mid-market, the finance are keeping us afloat, but they're also the ones that are destroying the lower wage people because we don't have their salaries. We don't have their lifestyles. We don't have their
purchasing power.
Yeah, absolutely. They're Monday to Friday, probably entry level in a bank, 35 grand, entry level into a hotel as a KP.
We all know it.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Commie chef. Yeah, great.
Yes.
And what can you do with that?
Yeah.
It's all been eaten up by your actual living costs.
Yeah.
If you live in now, and this is the big contentious thing, everybody's now getting tax in kind. So if you live in accommodation and some people at the hotel, they share a room, which is right. They all know what they're coming into, but they're paying X amount. Mm-hmm. They're getting taxed in kind on that. So you're sharing a room with one toilet and you're being treated like you've got yourself a bed sit on your own
Oh, wow.
And they're saying, well, the company is subsidising it. Well, I think they need to put a little bit more thought into that, because if in a bank you're getting it in tax in kind and you're getting a 2-bedroom flat for £200 a month, that needs to be taxed because it's in kind, because they're picking up £2,000 of the bill. When you're paying for an accommodation, sharing an accommodation, living in a hotel, and that is gonna hit our industry massively, because it's already hit the industry. All the guys at the hotel that live in are going, what's this tax in kind? No one's explained it to us. All of a sudden, I'm paying 27% tax because you filled out your tax form. So for me right now, the biggest gripe I've got is this tax department is destroying people that don't have the resources to knock on the door and say, can you help me with my tax? And that is the tax office that turn around and say, we are not obliged to give you any information on your tax thing. You must fill that form out yourself. But I don't know how to. Can you help me?
Yeah.
No.
Especially, I think it's probably easier when, let's say, you don't have children, you're on your own. Then I would say it's kind of straightforward. But as soon as you know other things, other attachments,
if you don't live in it,
it gets complicated.
Yeah.
And it's also a bit unfair, because if you don't know how to, you can't take advantage at all of like deduction from your tax, if you get any these days. I don't even know. You get a few, but it all depends, I guess. If you have children, probably you get more. If you're on your own, you get
But you've been here long enough. How many different tax codes have you looked at?
Yeah.
And yet your circumstances haven't changed drastically enough to warrant a certain percentage. So you fill out the same thing every year, give or take an increase in salary or a sidestep in salary. All of a sudden, you've gone up by 3%. And you're going, why has it gone up by 3%? I've not changed my circumstances this year. I'm in the same job with the same salary. So I've gone over 2 salary caps. Can you tell me why? No. Can I phone up? Yeah, of course you can phone up. Can you tell me why? No. Can you tell me why? No. So we've got all these people from Africa, from Sri Lanka, from Philippines.
And they have no idea how the system works.
Not a clue. They come over here. They were here last year. They had live-in. They fill out their form. Live-in. They've already paid everything. They've paid what was required to be paid by that property. All of a sudden, they've gone from 12% to, some of them have gone up to even 30%. Because of the tax in kind thing. And there's no explanation. There's no, listen, come in and we'll explain it. The employers have not got the information. So there's going to be people that are going, well, this tax in kind thing, great. I'm paying the same as them, but I've got this beautiful, big, beautiful flat. So it works out better for me because I'm still making money. So long as you don't pay the 24 grand a year that you would ultimately cost you, then you got these people being screwed. So we will then lose the staff this year because it's from last year to now that they got it. We will lose those staff because they won't come back.
So you do have people saying that, you know what, I would love to come back. I love the environment. Because you are the kind of guy that set up a nice environment. I work with you, and then, you know, at least from that point of view, there was never anything to complain about. So you have people saying like, look, I kind of like it here, but, you know, taxes, 9 months, going back, coming again to the island, going back home, coming back to the island, and then everything else makes it not competitive, I guess, comparing to Europe. France, let's say. Or
yeah, absolutely. How are we supposed to compete? I mean, how are we individually supposed to compete as an island? How are we supposed to facilitate? When you were in the kitchens, when I was back at the Royal Yacht, and probably the 5-10 years previous to that, this island was really heavily. We had Michelin-star restaurants everywhere. We had great food. We had great vibe. And there's a lot of Romanian, a lot of English, a lot of Polish people that have made a really nice career on this island, or branched out after serving their time into really nice careers, worked their way up the ladders. I don't see that anymore. I don't see those opportunities. I think you're ultimately saturated from your salaries, which puts you, and people are going about people's mental health. This is ultimately affecting people's mental health. This is bringing the island down. This is bringing
stress.
We have a suicide rate over here. Of course we do. We got, bookies, are making huge amounts of money because they're trying. People are going in there expecting a golden ticket, getting hooked.
And it's usually people that can't afford it that usually go. You're not going to see people that are rich trying their luck.
Absolutely, because they don't need to.
Yeah.
But whereas these people are thinking, it's all I got. I've got minimum wage.
Let's double it.
Let's try and get something. Let's try and do it. And all of a sudden that just creates, and then you can throw drugs into it. It's depression. It's depression that forces you down the avenues of excessive drinking, drugs, and gambling, and I think Gordon Ramsay's even banged on about it, in how it's affected him. But his is of a different level of, I'm going to say it because I believe it, but he attributed to that with bullying and the so-called 3-star environment that you're supposed to be bullied and pushed and
I believe, you're right, because I think it was very detrimental to the hospitality industry.
Of course it was, yeah.
I mean, I get it. I don't think there is a question about whether the guy is a good chef or not in terms of like technicality, but then what about the rest, Although maybe, let's say he's totally different in the kitchen comparing to what he's on TV, but what people see is what matters most.
The kitchen's what made him.
Yeah. Well, true.
So he wouldn't be where he is now.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You watch Boiling Point, you watch Marco, you watch Nico Landenis, you look at all the so-called big hitters from the 80s, even Marcus Waring to a degree. These kitchens were born of brutality, and that's what made them their success. Their success came from complete and utter focus, but they did not care about the individuals. I hate them when they say, it was in that environment. We drove people forward and we were putting them at the top.
We drove them with
and it's like, that's not
almost with the baseball bat.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this isn't the army. This is just cooking. Yeah. When you're in the army, you're going to die if you don't get it right. Yeah. So there's a bit of a difference in, I'm not going to die in a kitchen, hopefully, touch wood. But the reality of it is that why should I be screamed, shout, bawled, punched, kicked, belittled, abused? This is contributing to mental health. We just done one at the hotel. We had a mental health lady come round, Alison, I think her name was, and she was going on what to look for, and it was like, if you're looking at mental health, if you're at your workplace, what would you look for?
I think it's a totally different environment. Yeah, so it's a calm place to work. It's being welcome. Feeling welcome into the place. It's
you get on with your job.
Good relationships I get with your whether managers or colleagues. I don't know. Have breaks when you need to have breaks, and so many of these things. I think I know where you want to get. They don't apply to hospitality. Yeah. So it's very different when someone comes to do, let's talk about mental health with 10 accountants, and let's talk mental health with 10 chefs. Totally different story.
Big time. Big time. You look at the time restraints, you look at the multicultural. So you've also got to imagine high pressure environments with people that's first language isn't English or isn't French if they're in France, or isn't, if I go to Kenya or if I go to Sri Lanka or any foreign country, to me, I will expect, speaking my language, I'll be expected to basically just blend in, learn the language. Will there be much in touch? But the point being is that mental health ultimately comes from how you're treated. You can say good morning to everybody, good night to everybody. You don't have to like everybody. You have your moments when you say things you shouldn't. We all do. We have to. But when you if I look at all the people that work in the kitchen, I couldn't tell you, and apart from when their mood is generally sour, when you go, are you all right, mate?
Yeah.
But generally, I wouldn't be able to tell you if someone was depressed or...
Oh, absolutely. Like mental health. I think there was a video about it with the two guys watching a football game.
Yeah, that's right.
If you remember, So I think that says it all, because you get the sense that actually the other guy is in trouble, but it's actually quite the opposite. Is the opposite.
Yeah.
So it's hard, and some people can hide it, and they're probably they think that it's better, keeping it for themselves.
Or they drink.
Or
Or they do drugs. Yeah. Or they go out in the evening and they do complete hedonistic
when you don't
things.
see them, they're in a totally different environment.
They could be addicted to many different things, but we ultimately will not know because our relationships are work relationships. We're not personal relationships, and it's the personal that could drive the work or the work that could drive the personal. So how do you gauge that with an individual? So this is what makes me laugh, is that it's all very good and well saying, depression, eating habits, drinking habits. You can come out of everything. I can hide anything.
Yeah.
I could be the same every day. Robin Williams, the funniest man on the planet, right? Topped himself because he was depressed. Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? The lead singer of Linkin Park topped himself. Who knew? So all these people that know him or knew him didn't know. So it's a redundant exercise for me. What it should come down to is, are we paying the right money? Are we looking after them physically and financially? Yeah, let's do our part. Let's do our part as an island. If we're going to make this attractive again, we've got to start managing people's expectations, from the tax office to the living accommodation. We've all lived in shitholes.
Yeah.
And we've paid way too much, but that's all that's on offer. And it's probably location that we've gone for over anything else. All of a sudden, that affects the people's mental well-being. And especially now we're in a snowflake society where you can choose to be whatever you want to be. And I will refuse to do that because that doesn't sit well with me. And all these things that you have to, we're now in a society where we pretend to care. Well, let's change that around and actually fix the things that we can that actually would attribute to a better life for people. You know, why should it take long to get 9 months? Why can't they have a full year? I don't understand it. Why does it only have to be a visa for that amount of time? If they are on reviews, so the Australia system, fill out the application. If you are qualified to do that role, we will sponsor you. You can stay as long as we want you.
Because you're an asset.
Because you're an asset to the business, yeah. But you sign to that business. You're signed to that business. You cannot move.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like that business is responsible for you in a way.
That's it. There's strength there.
Yeah.
There's strength for both because they're guaranteed the job. You're guaranteed an employee that you put your time into that doesn't go in 9 months and then reapply somewhere else because it's better money. So it's a catch-22. When you came to from Romania here, you meet a lot of Romanian people. So they all give you all the information of what they've experienced.
Yeah.
So you're going to find where you want to go. You're going to see what you want to do within 2 conversations.
True.
So and the same when I went to Australia. I spoke to the English boys. Where do I need to work? Well, you got to go here. They pay really well. Great. How do I get in there? Just go and knock on the door. Now, there you go. That's the simplicity to it. And that's where it makes sense to me. The rest of it is it's a work in progress. And this is why the Jersey Hospitality Association with Marcus, before with Simon Saw, you know, they've got to stop being political. They've got to push the politicians, not sit as a politician. They've got to represent from the floor up, not looking down.
But I think the positive about this Jersey Hospital, I don't really know too much of the insights, to be completely honest, and how much is helping the industry right now at this point. I mean, I know a few things that they're trying to implement or they implemented, but on the bigger scheme, I think it's great that there are quite a few people behind it and from different businesses.
We've got no choice.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I hope that, you know, being that many people and hopefully united, if you go as one voice, and you demand certain things, you know, they will listen. I think that's the hope.
Marcus is one of the most flamboyant, logical, great speakers of the island for this industry. I fully appreciate and stand behind him. I think he's got all the right intentions. And I just think it should be, in my opinion, I don't think the JHA should be subscribed. You shouldn't have to pay. If it's about numbers, it's about being almost a union, isn't it? So the more people that are involved with it, the stronger you are. Places that I work for, like the Dolans, you know, creating great work environments, great places to work, great ethos, great system. They've all got every sort of box ticked. So the Dolans, for me, have been the best part of my Jersey experience so far. Without
I feel you, because I work for them. I went through the same experience. I thought they were amazing. Yeah,
so they care, and they treat you like a friend, and they listen, and you know, you get what you need, not what you want, which is a favorite phrase of mine. But the reality of it is, with a union over here, with someone to turn to, I suppose, you'd all have a voice. But when it is subscribed, I think a lot of people don't bother with it. I think it just goes to the top end. I think it just stays at the top, which is fine. But to me, of an island of this size, action should be quicker.
Covering
it should
the
be
whole...
and it should be open to everybody. So let's look at it this way. As I said to you a year and a half ago, if you don't have accommodation, how are you going to get staff? All of a sudden, we have accommodation, but we're going to tax you on it. Oh, great. Here we go. So you got the taxing kind thing. So we found you. So we're now going to get you for that. So you might as well try and live out. Okay, so I'm from England. He's from Kenya. And we want to rent a 2-bedroom flat together. how long have you been on the island? We've just arrived. Sorry. Where are you going to work? The doors will be closed, because they know they're only going to get you for 9 months.
Yeah.
So it all sort of goes hand in hand. And this is where, you know, a little bit of common sense, I think. Like I say, Marcus, I think he's a great guy, 100% behind him. And I just would like it to move a little bit. You know, I'm 51 now, so I've only got a little bit of time left. You know, would
you like him to be a bit more like dynamic in terms of like actions or?
Well, I think there should be more communication, more verbal. I mean, the one thing you could say about Simon is there was a lot of exposure to what he was going to do. You know, he threw that out there through the hospitality association. Yeah. So you would pick that up from other people. With Marcus, I think he's got some fantastic ideas. But again, it's what's the point in telling them if they're going to get okayed? Once you plant the seed, everybody's waiting for it. If you don't fulfill that, then that's just disappointment, isn't it? So it's a catch-22 again. It's that's political, isn't it? I mean, that's the problem. You need what's the word? I mean, I've watched all your podcasts of every single person, and
well, the plan is to get Marcus as well. So I had a conversation with him. So hopefully he will.
I think he should.
Yes, well, I hope that he'll make it. You know,
and his wife. I mean, they should sit together and just battle on like they're doing. They're fabulous. I love listening.
And
I
think it's also the fact that I think now because he's out with JBs, he should, in theory, have more time for JHA. And maybe, you know, more things will move forward, I would like to think.
But again, where'd you go? Where'd you go with it? So he's now out of JB's. He's got more time to do it. He's a beautiful guy, got a great family. You know, my question is what do we need? So I've just given you one massive reason that needs to be addressed at the lower end of life on this island. You know,
accommodation, taxing.
Accommodation and taxing. You know, so if you're going to offer accommodation, now, where does that sit in the great scheme of things? I don't know. Yeah. I'm just going to throw things out there. So I'm throwing it out there that's what the guys that work at the hotel where I am, that they love working there.
You see the pain points, basically.
Yeah, and that ultimately is leaving a very sour taste in it because they can't afford to be here. Once you go up to 27% tax, 22%, 23%, whatever it is.
Especially because obviously they're not like people from the island, like islanders, where they live here, their family probably is here, all they care is about what is here. They send money home. These guys, they send most of their money home. So how do they survive with the rest?
And they spend money. You know,
well, let's true. Make they do.
They're here for the economy. They're great for our economy.
Absolutely.
They fill the pubs. They fill the clubs. They do what they should do as young male and females that have come over to experience a new journey. And I think we're slightly letting them down with how we treat them through the tax system. But I'm a victim of the tax system. I mean, every year it's never correct. Every year they lose documents. Every year something goes wrong. Every year that department lets down 80% of the people that are paying tax on this island. Every year. But no one knows whether they're being screwed or whether they're paying the right tax. No one knows. And they contest and they contest and they contest. So prime example, we're exactly the same wage, exactly the same circumstance. You're paying 7% and I'm paying 14%. How does that work?
Yeah,
that's my point.
I'm lucky that because my wife, she being an accountant, I'm lucky that she knows pretty much exactly how much we're gonna. If it's not, then she rightfully
will sort it out.
We'll contest it.
But that's the point. If I was a tax officer, I could do my own tax. If I'm not a tax officer, and I have to fill out these forms, and I fill them out to the best of my ability, and it's not correct, and then I have to go back, and then they get it wrong, and then they get it wrong, and then they get it wrong, and then they get it wrong. All of a sudden, you give up, and it's almost like a scam, isn't it? You know, it's almost like let's balance the books for the island. It's almost let's make it look good now, give back later, but we don't have to give back because they seem okay with it. Who knows? Who knows? But it's not. It doesn't operate cleanly. Yeah. It's not a very good tax department. So that's my biggest big gripe.
What we talked about last time was bums on seats. You know, like getting people back into the restaurant, and we're not even close to what we used to be years back. From what I'm getting from people.
Yeah.
And you know what? Something interesting, because I don't know how much you pay attention to these, but Quids in during summer, it wasn't really a thing for restaurants. But now, if you go on Quids in now, like right now, today, you'll find probably 10 restaurants advertising for set menus and all that.
And what does it give that restaurant?
Well, but the thing is, what I'm trying to say is that there's just not enough people coming through the doors.
But why? Ultimately, give me the reason why. I could tell you the reasons why.
Well, I guess it's purchasing power in the end. You priorities have changed for most people. Like mortgage is going up. You're gonna prioritize what you're gonna go out or you.
But again, go across the water to Guernsey and the food's cheaper.
Yeah, I guess slightly cheaper because of their GST or VAT. I can't remember exactly now which
and
one
yet
is
it
which.
seems to work. So they're talking about going to GST over there. With GST. Our biggest, I think the biggest problem is that I believe that Jersey in its day was far superior to most European cities for what it offered, how it offered it. Great shellfish, great everything. Now, if I can sell, so all the lobster, all the seafood has gone mental because they can sell it to France at a third more than what we can pay. Because France ultimately, is quite expensive, but they accept it because their economy will absorb it. When you're in Jersey and you look at a lobster costing you £24 a pound, a kilo, £22 a kilo, because it's being driven by the French market. And then you look at freight prices, then you look at supply. So it all went completely mental. So we've gone up by across the board, probably between 20 and 35% on purchasing through the suppliers that are getting it here through not shoddy.
Is this for the past, would you say 2 years or?
Give or take, it's been creeping. But Condor have let us down in a massive way because the breakdowns.
Their taxes went up.
Everything went up, but the supply stayed the same. So we've had many times where people have been ransacking supermarkets during the winter.
Oh, you mean in terms of
delivery?
of delivery, yeah.
So all these things you got to put into account. So we need to supply the island. You've got France there, yet we choose to buy everything in the UK. I don't know why, because France could supply from Metro at a very reasonable price. But they're more difficult to deal with because they're French. But you could still do it, and it's a shorter stretch of water than going 4 hours or overnight through to on the Clipper to Portsmouth. So God bless you, Portsmouth. So all the prices went up. People's expectation went up. People go out now. People will have a main course as opposed to a free course. So they've limited what they'll spend because of the prices. And if you look at, you just hit that as one of your reasons of Quids in. If you think about Quids in, what I don't fully understand why you want to, if you lower your expectation, you're going to go out of business because you can't keep paying what you need to pay for wages because the wages now have gone up. Food supply has gone up. If you use Quids in, who wins? Is it the person that all your Quids in vouchers go? You've got a full restaurant. Do you have the staff that can cope with a full restaurant at the money that you've got?
Well, that's
all of a sudden you have to manage that. Next thing, you've got to manage the expectation. Do you have the skill in the kitchen, skill in the front of house, skill with the wines to meet that expectation? Or is it all just diluted because you're only getting people for 9 months? You can't build a future with that. You can't build the future of this industry.
It's not predictable, I guess.
Of course not. After 9 months, they go. If they're rattled by any single thing or they can't afford to be here because of tax in kind, they don't come back. So you're doing fresh every 9 months. And in those 9 months, you've got those key months. Well, this year we've had.
And then you go through like months of training as well. Do you find yourself doing more training now because of these?
As a hotel, as a hotel, we do flow training. We do
because you do your 9 months. Well, you do your 9 months, and then you get another people from that with 9 months, which they probably take a few months to accommodate almost because they're coming from a totally different side of the.
Then you throw in the environmental health. Are the environmental health stringent as they are here? So do we have to retrain them on how they? Normally we'd serve that. We'd never throw that in the bin. And you're like, well,
we do
throw it in the bin. We're not allowed. It's completely different. So no other job does it. So we've got 5 stars for your environmental health that you play with every year. You've then got food prices going up every year, food availability going all over the place because of supply. So if you've got a set menu that you don't change, and you've got it like, say, TGI Fridays, and you're telling people we don't have that because it didn't arrive, that is detrimental to your business.
Yeah.
We're not guaranteeing this as an island. We're not keeping it the way it should do. Alcohol's gone through the roof. So wet sales have now dwindled because they're going to the supermarket. The supermarket's loving life, but they're not paying the same taxes as what the pubs are.
And they don't have that much overhead. You have 3-4 people in some of the supermarkets selling.
That's it. Stack of shelf.
Cans after cans.
Yeah.
It's different when you have someone coming to your table, taking your order, bringing it to the glass, take the glass.
That's it.
And, wash it, all that.
That all
take
costs.
The booking.
Yes. And then people turn up and have 2 beers and they go.
And that's pretty much
it. Or they're already half cut, so they have those 2 beers, and that's them, and that's all they want to spend because that's where we are. So supermarkets, if you look at it, I drink at home now. I make no bones about it. I cannot afford to drink out.
Yeah.
Not that I'm a big drinker, he says, but
but yeah, I'll beer every now and then. I know you're not a drinker, that's for sure.
No,
you will have your beer every now and then, especially with this heat. Well,
absolutely.
God forbid.
God's juice, but. It's got a relevance, and I'm sure everyone will tell you the same thing, is that if you've got a business, if you've got rooms and you sell rooms and you can fill those rooms, you're already ahead of the game. If you don't have rooms and you're a restaurant and you've got no accommodation, so you're now begging for staff and the people like the housekeepers that don't work in the evening, you've still got to pay them a little bit more to get them to come in. So that's 12, 14. Then the tax man's going, two jobs, beautiful. So it's a knock-on effect. So how bad has the island become, where we have a population of 110, 115,000, and we must have really ballsed it up if we really need to steal this amount of taxes from the people that are earning nothing. And that's where I'm just confused, because my industry has always been full of people that start at the bottom. We need those people.
Yeah.
We need them. We need the housekeepers. We need the cleaners. We need the KPs. We need the...
I think KPs now is one of the hardest jobs to fill.
There's no one, because they can work on a building site. They can work in a supermarket.
There's so many alternatives.
Absolutely, and they'll earn more money, and they won't be.
How do you do it in your place?
Yeah, but
do you get?
We're quite fortunate. I mean, this is the one thing that you always say. But if you treat people well enough, we've got longevity. But these.
Even then, it's complicated.
It is, but the 9-month contract, a lot of people in other countries, this is a good job for them because they don't want responsibility. They're here for money, and that is a mechanic
job they're happy to do.
That's it. It's not like I'm a chef and I want to come and be a chef, or I have to be a KP. It's literally, they're probably not in the industry, but it's better than what they're doing there financially, and it means a lot to their families, and I'm all for that. But I just think we take too much from them. And I put myself in that category. We all started somewhere, didn't we? And until you get into some form of management, it's not an easy road.
Is progression still a thing from KP to all the way to...
I don't see why it shouldn't be.
Yeah, well, it should be, but is it still now happening comparing to what it used to be?
I would say so. I think if you've got the drive, there's some great people on the island that I've known for a few years that have gone all the way to the top now, and good on them, and well deserved. It's their jobs now to start giving back and taking these people on a journey. We're not, like I said,
got to give them the chance.
Absolutely. But again, we go back to the 9 months. How much chance do you get in a 9-month period? We got some great people.
Because you would do it probably in the period where he's dead, but then when he's dead, you got to send them back.
Yeah.
You can't do it probably during full summer when you're busy.
Nope.
You need to have time to focus on them so they don't do something crazy.
Absolutely. And again, if you get them all year round, then they only go away for the holiday and they're back. When they go away for 3 months, a lot can happen in 3 months, in their personal lives, family lives. They then take a cruise ship deal somewhere, or they go to the Caribbean. So many temptations with better weather, which is more suited. Don't blame them for that. That's for sure. We've had a terrible summer, but it's just little things like this that I think ultimately we're in no better place than what we were a year and a half ago. We're actually probably we're actually probably now in a more volatile situation because we're becoming a filter. We're becoming a filter to feed Jersey government's taxes, but we're all suffering because we can't get any continuity or consistency through it. And we can't offer life-changing moments to people that deserve it, that fit our business's needs. And this is ultimately why we should become more seasonal, I suppose. We're going to lose. The winter should be for the locals and the summer should be for tourism. Who knows? Maybe we're becoming more like Monaco. I don't know. But it's changing. It's changing. And I'm sure you feel it.
Absolutely.
How many empty places up and down King Street? I mean, retail's going through exactly the same problem. Everything's becoming online.
Yeah.
It's cheaper to go online than what it is to walk into a shop, try something on.
And it's really a hard argument. Like, it's really hard to be like, well, let's do local. And I'm all for it. I'm genuinely all for it. I do like that part. But when it's burning, when your pocket is burning, what are you gonna do really? What are you gonna choose? Like, it's literally a situation where you have no options sometimes.
No. Well, we were lucky, weren't we? We bought our properties. We suffered. We paid rent for a very long time. We gave to the system, and I don't see that anymore. I don't see those opportunities unless you're
it's becoming so much harder.
Unless you're in finance, unless you're coming straight in at the magic numbers, where you are looked after, where you do have accountants that you can turn to for your tax forms, and you can ask questions that will get you the relevant answers. And this is no criticism to any hospitality and owner, but we don't give that kind of support. We don't really involve ourselves in that kind of support. And I think that's the next step, maybe, that we should, like I say, maybe it's the next step for the Hospitality Association, that we get a bit more clear and present, in how we, like an induction to the island, is that the taxes will be this. Okay, they're going to earn this amount with this job. They're going to have a second job. Roughly, what would the tax be? Give them an idea. Give them a ballpoint figure.
So they know what they can take home.
Because then they could reduce what the second job, because if they're only going to give it to the tax man, you might as well have more time to yourself.
Yeah. I might say something like quite stupid, because I don't really understand the tax system, although
No one does. I
work around a lot of guys that work in tax in my place.
Yeah.
But I never really get into conversations because numbers always confuse me.
Yeah.
To say the least. But I don't know how some places, like for example, Romania, I know 100% that you have a certain percentage that you pay.
Yeah. Whether
you're rich, whether you're poor, you know exactly how much you're going to pay before you even start working. So it's very clear right from the beginning. It's, let's say, 20%. Everybody pays 20%, but you know that it's not going to go higher, at least not till to the point where it's a law that, that the tax will change for everybody.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, it's like that. And there are certain sectors that benefit, like, for example, the IT sector, I think for a while, it got some favors. So they tried to boost a bit the IT sector, but then now they try to bring the tax back on them. So it was like that for a few years.
Yeah.
The sector went up, and then now, you know what, you need to give back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to me that we need to do this every year. I might not get the point here, but...
In England, we don't. I never filled a tax return out of my life unless you were self-employed. And if you were self-employed, then that's exactly what you need to do, because you were in control of your own finances. But every single ITIS code that you get in the UK is put into a system that comes back consistently in the threshold of what you've earned. So there is no ambiguity. It's not like you have to phone back and say, well, it is literally. And if you want to know, you can go online. It says, well, if you earn this, that's your tax percent. If you earn this, that's your tax percent. And if you go up there, then that's what you think. So that's why, you can go up to 40, 50% if you're earning mega money. But there's going to be, that's why you employ other people to reduce that deficit. But here... Well, I've got no idea. I've got no idea how they equate it or work it out. And like I say, I think this is ultimately going to, I don't know if the island's aware of it, but without that, what have we got?
Yeah.
I just want to take a moment to tell you that if you are struggling to manage your social media for your hospitality businesses, you are not alone. At True 24 FPS, we are not just producing content for the sake of doing it. we are focusing exclusively on Jersey's hospitality industry, and we are turning your followers into loyal guests. Your attention as a hospitality business owner, manager, or head chef is leading staff, focusing on day-to-day operations, and also maybe changing menus and other things that are day-to-day challenges. But you don't have time for social media, which is still a critical part, but it just falls behind. So leave the social media and content creation side for us, because this is what we specialized in, so you can focus on what you do best. And now back to the episode.
But do you think, because obviously all the challenges that we talk about, from high prices to taxing system to 9-month contracts to everything else, is fine dining more affected, or is it kind of slowly dying because people are now looking for, if I'm going out, I want to have big portion, one main course, job done.
Yeah.
I don't think I see people kind of like going that direction. Obviously, pubs, they always been there. Also, you always had that option in the past. But now it seems like people are going towards value for money, whatever value for money means in their mind. So do you think that fine dining will struggle in the coming years more than...
I think it has to, doesn't it? Because fine dining ultimately means...
Yeah, it's a bit
bigger price.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, it becomes you know, if you go to Bohemia, you go to probably Tassili.
300 quid.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, done. Atlantic being one, probably Longville Manor, that are, you know, the luxury end. You know, how many people of the new generation are going to be able to afford that? And if they are, will they stay in Jersey, or will they not fly off to something which is more fashionable? I don't know. So is it dying? I believe. The only people that can answer that are the peoples within their industries that can answer that question. We're not fine dining at the Somerville, but per se, we do honest food, and that's what we're trying to achieve now, is that you get value for money. When you break it down, a starter will be between £10 and £15, the main course between 19 and 26. So everything is, you know, trying to
it's been trimmed as much as it can be, I guess.
And yet we still don't mess around with the food, so we can offer a nice portion of the protein, a good couple of starch and, you know, veg or whatever, and then a nice sauce. So it's really nice. But I've noticed that when you look at that mid range, that's what's become stronger, mid to low range.
Yeah.
And some of it's real crap, but people go for cheap,
for big portions, and they don't really care that much about.
Yeah,
they don't care that you didn't reduce that sauce or whatever. You make it from granules. If it's a lot, then.
Well, I remember when I first came to the island, you had Sean Rankin, you had Longville Manor, obviously, and I think Mark Jordan had come at the same time as me, give or take. But they were doing 60 lunch, 60 dinner in these places. You know, at the top end of where we were at that time.
Yeah,
you know,
probably now they do 60 in 2 days.
I would think it was even less. You know, if you look at lunches, dead, and they manage that expectation. But lunches now probably 10 to 15, dinners 10 to 15 during the week. If they've got rooms above, you'll be lucky, but some of them don't see the value. They just use the rooms.
Jordan doesn't have anything else apart from the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
It must be a tough situation for them.
Well, I don't know.
Not that I'm crying for the situation they're in, because I don't know exactly.
No, I mean, I couldn't tell you.
I can see a challenge there. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I mean, only they can give you the answers to that. I mean, their business has been, I think, 11 years now, you know, successful. So, you know, they'll do.
They survive.
They'll do
COVID, they survived through 3 things. So
they'll do whatever.
Resilient.
They'll do whatever they need to do to stay afloat. I mean, that's their business, that's their livelihood. So, you know, it's the same like any entrepreneur or business owner. You've got to do what it takes to stay afloat. But, you know, I couldn't tell you what their expectation is. I couldn't tell you what their numbers were. I can't tell you that. I mean, it's crystal ball time. Yeah. But for me, if you gauge it by what you see and how your business is going, and the local people down in St Albans, you know, even the Salty Dog, brand new, you know, when it's been miserable weather, so they haven't been able to use the outside bit. So you imagine losing half your capacity for that amount of time. And now all of a sudden you've got people wanting their money back from the build or whatever, and you're only doing the 40, 50.
Because they don't care that you're not busy.
No one cares, because you've ultimately signed into it like a mortgage.
And it's also that you have to
it.
pay your people, like the construction company or whatever, they have their bills to pay. So
Yeah. But it's crystal ball.
thing.
We're all in that same boat. What do you do to manage your expectation? You stick to your guns if you have the affordability to do so, and you ride it out if you can. If not, you've got to chop and change your staff wage bill, because that's obviously a massive factor.
Yeah.
Then you've got to have a chef that's on point and a bar manager that's on point, or a restaurant manager who does the ordering to a point. So you can't hold the stocks that you used to hold, because cash is king. So there's a lot of factors in it now. I mean, I wish everybody nothing but great success in on this island. We need as many restaurants to survive and to keep going in the right direction. But I just don't know.
But do you think you would be forced? Do you think you would be forced in your situation as a head chef to raise the prices if you were a standalone restaurant comparing to the hotel? Because now the two in your situation, sometimes they balance, I guess, or you're still completely separated.
Let's throw Randall's into it. I mean, let's go down whatever capacity you're at. If I've got 20 units and I guarantee you my business, I'm going to get the best price going, right? If I'm a single standing alone unit and I want that product, I have to pay what they throw my way. Yeah. Because that ultimately, we forget about the food chain of suppliers that are still doing exactly the same as what we're doing. So if their costs have risen because ours have risen, then they've ultimately got to build that into their expectations. So if you've got someone bending you over to bring your price down, that ultimately has to come from somewhere to balance the books, to make it viable to keep operating as a supplier, as a condor to a degree. Everybody's got to get paid. Yeah. No one's not getting paid in this. True. So every time one facet of that goes up, the dominoes fall to go up. And that's unfortunately what's killing this industry, probably worldwide, I'd say. I mean, I know other places are cheaper, but you've seen it when people say, "Oh, Portugal's gone up a lot and Spain's gone up a lot," and we got wars everywhere that have destroyed agriculture and supply. So everything, oil went through the roof last year. After we talked, it went up to £40-50 a drum,
and I think it went back down, but not even close to the point where it was. No, and these are things that people don't even kind of consider into the
chips. Frying your chips,
and you use barrels and barrels.
So that's where it all becomes. It's the nitty gritty. Everybody's part of this boat. It's like Noah's Ark. If one of us jumps ship, the balance isn't right. Yeah. So we need everybody. Is
there a benefit of being part of a group with 3 hotels? Like, do you guys have? Can you get better deals because of this? Would you say? Is there a benefit from that point of view? Or are you all separated in terms of like they get their ingredients?
We're all fairly unique in what we offer. Yeah. The steaks is probably where we only all come together, and we all use a sirloin, or we all use a fillet. So there are certain similarities into some parts of the offering. But in reality, deals have got very small. Because
it's not what it used to be.
It's not what it used to be, no. So I'd say it does.
I remember it used to be almost like a haggle. I remember when they were coming all together, like 3, 4, whatever, all the reps, like who's giving the best price. Yeah. But now it's almost like take it or leave it. Huh?
It does, but when we worked at the Royal Yacht, if you remember, I used to buy a pallet of bacon. Yeah. So it's 100 cases because I had the outlet to do it. So also, if you've got the volume, you doesn't need to have sister hotels because I'm using 100 pallet in 2 weeks. It all becomes relevant. Schools, hospitals, blah, 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 whatever, Randall's, Liberation.
You can build that number yourself if let's say you have the storage and you know that you're gonna have the customers as well, I guess.
But you rob Peter to feed Paul. So say for instance I get the bacon really good, but I don't get a deal on the sausage.
But did they do it intentionally?
They have to make. I told you they have to make their expectation. Yeah. So
I guess they'll be like, get the bacon from us, and then the sausage comes with a tire. But
if you think about Las Vegas makes 3% on their gambling every year. 3%. Yeah. So that's 97% goes back to the person. But that 3% is huge. Yeah. So what the suppliers want is all the business. If I can sustain and I can supply another 10 businesses of size, I'm ultimately going to go to the UK and say, I'm going to guarantee that I'm going to take 12 cases rather than 6 cases. So it's a knock-on effect. They're brokering their deals to give us the deals.
Yeah.
Those deals can only be brokered if we have strength in numbers, like we've touched on, like the Hospitality Association.
Yeah.
Strength in numbers.
Who are the biggest fish now on the market in terms of supply?
Ooh.
Oh, you're trying not to upset anyone. You can mention them all, but because I think they change over the years anyway.
For me, there's only going to be 3, 4 when you include one. So you got Fungi, Valley, Shamanders. These are mine, and those are the only 4 that I'd say. Home fields are pushing in, but they're the only real ones. And then obviously the fish is fish. It goes up and down anyway. So that, you just go for quality there. Yeah. But they're the biggest, and we need them. Well, God, we need all of them. We need all of them because this island needs to hold a lot of stock to supply the industry.
And not all of them can, not each one of them can, individually can supply to...
At the moment,
to the whole island.
But
they don't have some of them have strengths, let's say, with meat on the meat side.
Yeah.
Some have on the teens or whatever.
It depends what they do best at.
Yeah.
It depends on what that chef likes. If he likes that brand of chip, he's not going to dwindle from it. But that brand of chip could then be, so I go and eat that chip. Oh, that's a good chip. Where'd you get that from? Can I get those chips? Do they charge me the same price as them? Who knows?
Yeah.
It's about want, isn't it? But there's no one supplier that could supply this island. They'd have to buy, so one would have to fold for them to buy it. So if you look at Batrix, folded 4 years ago.
I was going to say Batrix, is out, which was quite big at the time.
It
had
was.
Fish
long time
as
ago.
well, and they had all sorts of other things.
Jim
from
Batrick,
teams to,
God bless him, was a pioneer back in his day. He was a real sought after kind of guy, and his business was thriving at one point. But it changes. It changes because as other fish, you can be the big fish, but how long are you going to be the big fish?
A bigger one comes and eats
and that's it. But then also times change, Dan. He was one of the old guard. Different ethos, different rules.
I mean, look, Lucas Brothers as well, another veg supplier.
Yeah, and could they cope? But it's now Stephen Lucas, or is it Andrew? Andrew Lucas is now working for Valley. Doing the fruit and veg for them. So there's always a step back in, of someone who really believes in their product and believes in how they do their business. So this island is full of local herds, that produce cow milk, and now you've got malumi, and you've got all these lovely things by certain growers and farmers, and that's great. It's fabulous, but they're too expensive.
Yeah.
So to go on a massive scale, to hit the markets of the big.
And they do
hotels.
ice cream as well.
Yeah,
they do all
Blanc Pignon.
Blanc Pignon.
It's beautiful. I don't want to say the name, but Blanc Pignon, and it's a great product, and it is what it is. And like the farmer, he's so passionate. He's great, and I buy into it, and I love it, and I love the.
But then, if you get it, let's say with £10, how much you would charge for it in your restaurant? Because I
can't buy a tub of ice cream for my kids because I can get 2 magnums for that. But the quality is fabulous.
Yeah.
But like I say, you then go down to the class system. It's almost like...
And then you appear in Jersey Good and Bad Businesses for overcharging on ice cream.
That's it. It's almost like having a Gucci handbag. If you've got a tub of that, you're doing all right. Who knows? But he should never change what he wants to be. He should never change anything else. I'm not saying that. And it is a great
No,
product.
absolutely. I mean, I enjoyed it. And I think even for the consumers, if he delivers them to the shops, and Coop, I think, has quite a few of his stuff. I think it's great because although I don't have it regularly, when I know that I want a good product,
absolutely,
and I feel a bit more generous,
absolutely,
then I go for it, and I think it's great.
But isn't that what it's about?
Yeah.
I could scream. I could be the chef at Bohemia telling you, but I buy the best of what I can buy. That's why I charge that price. But to a lot of people, what does that mean? Because the skill is in me. Give it, to take a...
Bring it to life. Almost.
Absolutely. So I buy the same turbot as what they do. I buy the same sea bass as what they do.
Execution is the key.
We're just different chefs. We have different expectations. I'm cooking for the guest. they're cooking for the stars. There's a totally different pressure in that. I work for a group, and I believe in this 100%. We got the 3 rosettes at the Royal Yacht, and it ultimately meant nothing. Did it make us busier? No, but it was a great achievement for
personal achievement
for everybody.
It
involved.
It was basically
it was
for
great.
the team.
But ultimately, it didn't change anything because I wasn't cooking for that. I like it, but it didn't change who I was as a chef. Like being at the Dolans, I cook the food that I believe the clients want to eat, and I enjoy cooking that food. It certainly isn't bells and whistles, frilly, beautiful, but it is honest, beautifully well cooked, tasty food, and people love it. If you go onto TripAdvisor, we're getting some great. We go on Revenate. We look at all our
feedback.
Feedback from guests, and it's really nice to go to reception now. People say, "Chef, fantastic food here. We've had a great week." And that's all you want.
That's your Michelin star guide right there.
That's it. Because in these current times when we're all
ultimately
struggling,
the customer is the most important thing.
Yeah, of course they are. They're putting their hands in their pocket. I don't care what they want. If I can do it, they'll get it. I don't look at this, that. I guess what would you like? And they say, can you just get me 2 plates in and grill them? No problem. Can you just get me lemon salt? It will be a bit expensive, but no problem. Whatever you want. If I can do it, I'll do it. It doesn't scare me to be diverse or to, if someone wanted battered fish and chips as opposed to the fish and chips we got on the menu, no problem, I can do it.
Yeah. I guess if you were with a different mentality, be like, oh, this is not the right place, you should go to Sea Fish Cafe.
That's it.
But then in the end, it's all about creating that experience for the guest.
Money. I want you to
plus money, exactly. In the end, it translates into money.
I'm not cooking for now. I'm cooking for the next year. Because ultimately, they will book again.
Yes.
But if
it's easy to get them once, it's how you get them repeated.
If I piss them off, do you think they're going to come back? The rooms could be the best thing in the world, but if they can't use the facility and enjoy the facility, it's pointless.
It's a whole experience that needs to work hand in hand and work well to get them back.
Absolutely.
And especially for the prices that Jersey charges during summer. And I'm not saying Somerville or whatever. All the hotels, you get rooms with like hundreds of pounds. So you need to deliver, I guess.
On everything. You're paying for a facility. The room is one thing.
Yeah.
The service. This is one thing that the Somerville got is really friendly, happy people. So your experience is going to be
said
great.
That,
it's great.
Yeah.
We've managed to. This is what I say. We've lucked out in a sense of we've got such a nice group of people. Everyone has a bad day, but everybody turns that bad day for that person into a good day because we all rally around after them.
Well, you're kind of good at that, I know.
Yeah.
It's really hard to stay upset around.
Yeah, because a kitchen shouldn't be a place that you walk into and feel that they're the bosses. We're all the bosses. We're offering a product. Without them, the food doesn't go to the table. That's the point. So I'm only as important as them. I'm only as important as the guy cleaning my plates. Every part, every facet of that operation isn't about me. It's what that guest receives. And that's where I think people need to channel their, be a bit more flexible, be a bit more open, lower your expectation with your prices slightly to maximize your bums on seats. Because ultimately that will get you the profits that you need in the long run. Because you can drop 1% or 2%. But here's the next thing, isn't it? The next thing is how do you incorporate tips into that? So, it's in the UK, they've now said that there's no gratuity to be touched by any owner.
Do you guys have a 10% on the bill, or
we do, and we're all looked after. Yeah, we're all looked after. Yeah. But it's about how is it shared out? How's it used? Is there any is it honest? Is it
fair,
clear and present? Should everybody get the same? Should everybody get any of it? In a restaurant,
how much the kitchen gets comparing to the front of house,
but that's it. But when you're in a hotel, it's the whole experience,
yeah.
Isn't it? Apparently, so you look at how that then comes into this, because if you get good tips, this is where the guest experience comes in. If you get good tips, you're ultimately putting up your wages for that person.
True,
which makes them happier.
Yeah,
doesn't subsidize, but it adds to the whole deal, the whole package, and it makes you work more cleanly to that kind of thing. And if everybody's part of that cog, so the greet at the front desk is important, the then delivery to the restaurant is important, but then down to us in the restaurant to maximize their expectation. A smile is great, but if the food's rubbish and the service is rubbish, then we're in a whole world of trouble, aren't we?
Yeah,
And
totally.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's replace. Yeah, I just realized a bit too late. I'm a bad host, that's why I wouldn't be a good waiter, you see. You would,
We could try.
The 10%, you would fight to get it off the bill, by now.
I would have left by now.
Yeah, well, this is it. That's why, yeah. Yeah, but do you guys have issues with cancellations? Because there was a topic that sprang up a good few months back on, I think, was he on Jersey Good and Bad Businesses or something like that?
It's been quite a few of it, yeah.
Yeah, there were a few people saying that, this is getting a bit ridiculous. You have almost a full restaurant booked and then you end up with just half or even less.
Last year we did. This year, touch wood. Yeah, it's not been on the scale of what it was.
I guess for you is also the fact that you have people living in the rooms, so they are a lot more reliable.
We get on a weekend, we probably do 40-60%, between 40%, which are non-residents, and we do 60% residents. And sometimes it can tinker either way. But we have been really fortunate that most people have turned up for dinner. And I think that's testament to the service that we provide. Like I said to you, last year we had it, but we met everyone's expectation. This year, they want to come more. We're more...
You're in high demand almost.
Yeah, basically, people say, well, we booked 2 restaurants. Let's go there this time, because people say how good it is.
I don't know how people can do that. I find it so... It happened to me once, actually, because you say about booking 2 restaurants, and I think that's what most people do. Maybe even more than 2, actually. So we were in Portugal, actually. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we booked... We just walked past a restaurant, and I was like, can I get a table for dinner? And then it just happened that we found the weather wasn't that great, and we're like, we're gonna go closer somewhere.
Yeah.
And I tried finding a number. I'm like, I'm feeling like a prick, not at least letting them know.
Yeah.
It was bad enough anyway, canceling even with 1 hour before, although probably they were not that busy. But just thinking that when you work before in hospitality, you understand differently, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's different, isn't it? If you look at the other walks of life, the life that are probably doing this to us, if you look at, say I book an appointment to see the bank manager, just as a basic example, mortgage advisor, whatever, and I don't turn up, it doesn't really mean a lot to them because I'm not giving them money. I'm going for a meeting to possibly give them money. They're going to sell me something, or they're going to get, offer me
You're going to
something.
come back anyway.
Yeah, it's something that's a necessity, but ultimately I'm more than entitled to go out and speak to whoever I want. When you book a table in a restaurant, that table's gone.
True.
Excuse me. So that table is now off of being booked. So that table could be worth £100 to me, 150. When you move it out the way, we come into it on a Friday, Saturday night. We're a hotel up the hill, footfall. We're not going to get a lot. We don't get a lot of people walk past our hotels per se.
Kind of place.
You don't turn up, we've lost £100, and we've got no way of getting that back. And any single restaurant that is a hotel that you do not turn up to, you are potentially stopping employers re-employ some people next year.
Yeah, because they lose money.
It's all figure driven.
Yeah,
they are losing. If you say you lose 10 tables a week, 10 tables is 20 people. 20 people at £50 a head a week.
Yeah,
you put that into it's some serious money. So you are literally tinkering around with people's livelihoods, and I think that's shocking. I think that's really bad. Is that we're there to offer you a service, and we want to honour that service. It's like when someone comes in late, same principle.
Yes.
So I booked it at 8:30. That's our last orders, but I haven't phoned, and I turn up at 9. But I booked a table.
Yeah.
I want you to open the whole restaurant for me again.
Or there are situations where you want to do 2 setups. I'm probably not in...
No, we don't need to, but
not in your situation. But there are other places that try their best because they're small establishments. If you messed up half an hour, that's already knock-on effect on the next table.
Staff wages.
Yes.
A half an hour then goes into an hour because if you accept them.
True, because you need to keep them longer. They stay for desserts.
Absolutely.
You got a chef waiting to make I don't know, a creme brulee for 2 hours because they continue drinking or whatever.
And then all of a sudden they turn around and say, no desserts.
Yeah.
Any more drink? No drink. No more drinks. We're done. You've had 2 drinks, spent 40
and he's already
quid,
11.
and that's it. And they're done. And it's literally the most rude. I think it's the most rude, obnoxious thing is that we offer a service. We don't offer you to come and own the hotel for that 2 hours that you're here. And I think that's how people look at it. They've got it wrong. Is that we believe in our product. We believe in how we run it. Our boundaries are set because that's how we can maximize the future of the hotel, because we're not flushing money down the toilet. People go when they're supposed to go. They don't need to be here.
Do you think the solution is to charge on when you make the booking? Like charge basically 10%?
I would love to.
Like charge, I don't know, let's say 15-20%, and that gets taken off your final bill when you come to the restaurant.
I'd love to, but then you look at TripAdvisor. You look at
people
all
are
these
too soft
all
here
these
to
strains.
do that,
Yeah,
I
of
think.
course. It'd be like, oh my god, I don't want to go down. Oh my god, they said that we were horrible. Yeah, well, fight your cause. Just put in there where you turned up half an hour late. So what do you want from that? I can't get into a bank.
It would be really bad in terms of like managing this. You have one person just dealing with people that got cancelled, table cancelled, but that's going to be a temporary thing, hopefully. And then it will be absorbed by the day to day.
Yeah, name anywhere you can get into 1 minute past outside of our industry, 1 minute past their closing time. Give me it.
Yeah,
show me it. I can't get on a plane 1 minute past. I can't get into a supermarket 1 minute past. I can't get into a pub 1 minute past, but because they have the stringent laws, but that's different. I can't get into any retail shop past 1 minute 5. You can't. They will close those doors. You will not be allowed in. So why in our industry do people think that they can just roll in without telling us that they're turning up 10 minutes late, 15 minutes late? Or they don't even phone, or they don't even cancel. They're just no-shows. Why is that such a cultural thing? Because I pity any part of our industry that has to then look at the end of their week and say, well, we brought the product in because we were expecting to be busy, but we lost 10 covers last night. Yeah, but we had all the staff on. I know. But we didn't make enough money. Yeah, I know. What do you want me to do? You can't manage that. Or sometimes you
look at the bookings. It's like, okay, we have that many people, that we need that much stuff.
Yeah,
we prepared for it. If let's say you're not prepared for that, that's on you. But if you're prepared and they're not coming, then you're losing money. It's never really. You always have to be in the middle to make it juggle with them.
Well, absolutely. But I think, the way I'd combat it is to say, right, you booked for 8 o'clock. We'll expect you to be at 7:45 for an arrival drink if you want to. If you're not at the table by 8:05, we will resell your table. Unless you pick up the phone and communicate. I phone if I'm running late, I phoned you and said, I'm running a bit late. Wasn't just going to turn up. We had a meeting. I'm not just going to turn up late. It was literally, listen, sorry, mate, I might be, traffic's a bit back. Whatever it is, there's no
set expectations.
No excuse for it. But if you tell people that, they suddenly want more to be here. It's not going to be derogatory to your business. It's not going to be like, how dare you tell me what to do? How many places do you know where they say, sorry, we're going to need the table back by 8? That rags the arse out of me. If I'm going out and I get told I've got 2 hours to eat 3 courses.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you make the booking, what happens, I think some restaurants, when they allow you to make the booking online, it's very clear that you get your table for that long. I guess that's kind of fair. You might not like it.
Don't like it.
Yeah, but if they give you...
If we went, we're going to talk, right?
Yeah.
No,
absolutely. But I guess if they make it very, very clear and there are no surprises, because there are situations where I've seen situations, and I'm not being in a situation like, but I've seen basically being at the table and the table next to us, be like, by the way, you kind of been sitting for too long. I was like, nobody told us anything. Like, what, even worse.
Am I not spending?
Yeah, true.
Is it devaluing my pound?
True.
That's my point, is that I don't want to be told.
Yeah, we want to be limited.
I booked that table, I will spend money and I will enjoy my evening. And I'll spend more than I want because I'm enjoying my evening. But when you're trying to force me out, and especially when you're in a place where there is nowhere else to go, you literally got to get on a bus, get in a car or whatever, a taxi and go home. I don't want to go out. I'd rather stay at home and stick a lasagna in or something, because I want to relax. It's a pressure that I don't want. I work in a pressured environment. I do not want a pressure. I've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
They're not going to eat at a normal time. They're going to be slow. They're going to be a pain in the bum. They're going to run around. They're going to have a great time. And then all of a sudden, we can't have dessert, guys, because we've got to give the table back. Sorry. It's not. That's where we fail.
Mm.
But then when you're looking at the other side of it, that people need to make money and,
Well, yeah, there are
Catch
quite
22.
a few restaurants that are tiny. They have 30 seats.
Yeah.
Well, like, for example, Cafe Spice.
Yeah.
Cafe Spice, they do probably 3 setups sometimes, per service. It's just because if they wouldn't, I don't think they would be able to survive.
Best Indian on the island, by the way. Sammy, represent.
Still going strong.
Yeah,
Have you
great.
visited the one in Gori?
It's Sammy again, isn't it?
Yes.
So I've just said 2 kids. They don't eat curry. Sorry. I did say to my wife, we need to try it when we get a babysitter in at some point. But I've loved Cafe Spice, and if he's doing anything that resembles any of that, I'm in it for a good night. And the reviews, I wish them all the best. This is what I'm saying. This island needs to keep everything. It needs to keep rigatonis. It needs to keep the Cafe Zephyrs. It needs to keep, what's her name? Nina? Down at the Italian, on the Weybridge. Is it Nina? I can never remember her name, but she got Botanica.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We need to keep them. And everybody's like, oh, you're busy.
The Spanish.
Oh, they're making money. And we're also interested in what just let them get on with it, let them do what they got to do. It's down to the hierarchy of the island to keep us going, to make it so that we can staff it, to make it so that we can get continuity and consistency and bring back the good times. Marcus Calvani is the perfect person for this. His family are legendary on this island.
Yeah. And when they, because of the history and well, I think they're trying to reopen the
Cantina.
Cantina, yes.
Hopefully, I believe his brother's going to be opening it.
That's what I heard. Yes.
So, and brilliant. I keep looking at the thing so that they can see that I'm being serious. But we need every single facet. We need all the Portuguese. We need everything down in Have the Park. We need everybody to survive and get it back to some remnants of when we're long gone. I hope that I've contributed to keeping something that I've become a part of and been adopted to this beautiful island. And we work very hard to get where we are, but we make no bones about it. I really truly hope that we've contributed in a positive manner, and that's where Justin's outside catering with the Panda. Justin does a fabulous job. You should get him on, by the way.
Okay. I mean, if you I
need
don't
to get
know
him,
him, so if you give me
I'll give you his contact details.
I'd love to.
Yeah, he's an absolute diamond of a fella.
I'd love to.
So him and his partner do a fantastic job, but they're the kind of people that also complement the island in how they portray and how they love. If you look, he's always very proactive behind. We had a fantastic meal here, had a great meal here, and always give credit where credit's due.
Trying to bring them all out.
Yeah, so they're not. There's no sort of jealousy or sort of like, I hope we're doing better than anyone else. It's genuine.
Let's make it through together.
Yeah, it's we need more people like that on the island, and he's a great chef as well. And he does his bit, contributes in his angle.
But he's doing mainly events, right?
But that's the point. But he's doing the high-end events.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But he's mainly events. He doesn't have a set location.
No, but he used to. He'll tell you about it when you get home. But the thing, the one thing about him is that you said about fine dining, is it dead? Maybe it's not.
Maybe it's probably alive in a different way.
Maybe an angle is different, that you go to people's houses to create it. Do you see what I'm saying?
There are private chefs on the island that do that.
There is, and that's what I'm saying. Peter does it.
I'm not sure if he's still doing it, I think. Or he used to.
I believe he does. And again, kudos. There's many people. They're all going to get their own following. And we all need the chefs to stay afloat, and we need to go. And what I'm saying is that if you go to people's houses and you showcase great local produce in a very fine dining, great, relaxed, where there's no time frame, no 2 hours and getting out.
That's more fine dining that you can never hope for.
It is, because, and also your kitchen's being used. You see what your kitchen can do.
And especially because I
Yeah.
no offense to these people, but most of them, they don't know how to cook probably at high level. That's why they get someone from outside.
Yeah.
So I guess just seeing someone how they cook, oh, this is how you do that.
That's
oh
it.
my God, I've never seen that. It's almost like having a chef's table into
Well,
your...
it is. Yeah.
It is, actually.
It is. And it goes hand in hand. So it's every facet of this industry we need to keep. So we lost the potteries who did the outside catering as well. You know, they don't do the outside catering anymore. So Justin's taken over, but it's
What, Jersey pottery, you mean?
yeah, but they used to do a massive outside catering, and then it all just disappeared. Staff again. It all comes down.
They are
to
shrinking a bit, Jersey pottery from what I could see.
They are, and that's got to be, that's another conversation for them really. But they're shrinking. Yeah. Are they shrinking through choice? I don't know. I mean,
they still have the flagships,
oyster box, and but the thing is right. They're not getting any younger. Perspectives can change.
I had a conversation with the CEO, Dominic, yeah, and the plan is to get him on the podcast eventually. It was mainly to talk about allergies because he's deep into it for some reason. I don't know exactly, but to have a conversation with him because he's got a lot more expertise than I do, that's for sure, and see what he thinks and where we're lacking basically on the island.
But are we?
I don't know. I think because it's very different for me. I have no allergy to anything.
Well, let's throw it out there. The allergens should be dictated by the environmental health. As a hospitality owner in a hospitality business, we have to stay within the realms of what we're being dictated to by law. Mm-hmm. So these are different. That's a different kind of thing. Yeah. If you want to go, I think he's
talking about them changing some sort of law, not necessarily. Well, it will affect restaurants as well, because I think it's more about having the right information. I don't know exactly in which shape or form these would come.
Do we want to get too clever with this?
I don't know.
And what I'll say to you is this, and this is a massive thing for me, is if you announce, we did a FOD map for a lady who stayed at the hotel. So that means that she has a list of things she can eat and a massive list of things she can't eat.
She's just bringing you
But she has to eat them in different ways. Oh, wow. So on different days, basically it's a map of her diet for the week because of her illnesses.
Wow.
Now, if you look at that, we can accommodate to anything that is highlighted. Any questions we can phone up the environmental health on. It's all about communication. So I have a pea shoot allergy. Is that a severe pea shoot allergy? Yeah, what can you give us? If something how will this affect you? So some people just say, "Oh
I just don't like it.
I just don't like it." It's about the communication.
Yeah. But there are people that say they're allergic just because they don't like it. So to ensure that it's not going into the dish,
they can do what they want. But... I mean, the amount of vegans I've served that love a creme brulee. You do the whole meal for them, completely vegan, and at the end of it, they'll have a creamy dessert with egg in it. And you're thinking, hang on a minute, they can't be vegan.
Yeah.
The reality of it is that if you go back to the poor girl that passed by having a sandwich at somewhere in one of the airports, Trisha or something. Anyway, I forget her name. But the point being, yes, you can educate your staff. Does that have seeds in it? Don't know. Well, that's where it does. That's where we fail. So it's education, but the more people you're diluting your business with, the harder it is to keep it fallible or infallible, should I say. So when it comes down to people's tolerances, it's about the information you give us. Now, if you phone up 2 days, 3 days before and say, listen, I am strict on, I cannot have any fried food, I'll design a menu for that has no fried food. If you cannot eat asparagus or you're allergic to nuts or you're allergic to this, that tells me that it's massive for you because you're phoning in advance to tell me that. When you turn up from a normal table and you sit down and say, I'm allergic to this, and this, so I can't have 40, 50, 60% of your menu.
Can you redesign?
What do you want me to do with that in the middle of a 60 cover service?
True.
That's my point. And that's where I think Dominic is probably... got frustrated or, it's controlling. It's a bit more, I think the potteries like to control their businesses to every aspect of what they offer. So his passion is probably into that now because he needs to control. They have outlets that are sandwich orientated. They're not conglomerate like Marks and Spencers or, you know, the other people that get them in. So that's his angle, that's his thing. But I think if you start to get too clever when we've got a diluted supply of consistent staff.
Yeah, I was going to say, is this boring
difficult.
you? Because you have, let's say, these people that we were talking about coming for 9 months. You need to spend, I don't know how long, just to adapt them to the Jersey way or to European per se, because they're coming all the way from the end of the world, let's say.
Well, it comes down to your induction, doesn't it? I've employed you. I've now got to give you 2 to 3 days to tell you how the business works, get you up with all the company policies, the flow trainings, the environmental health side of it, and then I've got to do the HACCP. So the list of things. So when if I start working a bank, I turn up and they go, there's your computer. Knock yourself out, big boy. Let me know if you've got any questions. Cool. I've used the computer before because that's why I've chosen this job. When you go into a kitchen, you've got to do every bit of dangerous equipment has to be trained, every bit of the flow of deliveries to red boards, green boards, allergy boards, whatever. We have so much information to give. It's human error.
Yeah.
You know, KP's, bollocks, I'm not cleaning that board and just it looks clean enough and I put it back.
And if it's a severe allergy, boom.
Done. We're done. We're going to get sued.
I keep saying this, you know, like chefs, like most people don't see it this way. And I think even chefs themselves don't see it because if you actually every day think about it like deeply, you go crazy. Like literally thinking that, you know, everything that is not depending necessarily on you. You have people around you that you hopefully trust.
Yeah.
And then
oysters. I boil them in. Leave them in the fridge. 2 days later, they're still being served. When did they come in? I've just had my 2 days off. 3 days ago. Well, why are you using them?
Yeah.
Because they're still stuck together. They're forced. They're still alive. No, they're not. You need to get rid of them now.
Oysters are quite tricky.
So that's the point. That's the point of it's human error. You're still using human control. No matter what you put on this, it's all about getting that human being to follow the standard of the head chef to the managers to the owners. So the HACCP, the risk assessments. So the more you dilute that, the more information you give, this is my point with Dominic, is that you're actually overloading people that aren't really that interested in it. You know, they're chefs, they're this and that and the other, but they can't, it takes longer to get it into them as much as we'd like to try. So we got 14, we're going to go to 17 allergies. So we got 14 at the moment. We're going to go 17 this year. And then we're going to go into magical numbers at some point. But because this is all about the supply chain.
Yeah.
Because rather than stop it at the core, they're allowed to do that because it's cheap. And then we just get it. So it's called process. So it's down the line. So we're kind of screwed because it's only us that ultimately control what goes out. So the pressures for us. So when you get it on the check, no mushrooms. Parts of kitchens are not where you can put your eyes. Alardas can be just round the corner. All of a sudden, he's put the mushrooms on. Human error. But that person's now got spots all over their face. I'm going to sue you. This is outrageous.
Head chef to blame.
Whereas if you'd have come and phoned up a day earlier, 2 days earlier, I'd like a menu with no mushrooms. Have you seen our current menu? Yes. Pick those dishes and I'll make sure there's no mushrooms in there. And I will communicate that absolutely to the team.
I genuinely believe, not that I've been in a situation, and I hope I never be, you know, have some sort of allergy, but I think it's quite a bit on you as well.
Absolutely,
like making sure that, you know, if you cannot just rely, well, they said it's nothing in there, you know, just like trust them because, you know, they gave their word. I think, the more time, as you said, you know, this could be a solution. If you know that sometimes it's a bit unpredictable, I get it. But if, let's say, you know that Saturday I'm going to Somerville, then, and it's important for you because you're going to die if you eat mushrooms or something will happen bad to you, then why not ensure that when I get there, I have a good experience. The head chef knows about it.
Yeah.
The food is ready. And okay, issues can still happen, but because you prepare for it, the risks are a lot lower.
We're minimizing.
Yes.
We are making as much sure
you
as
never
we can.
really can fully remove it, but you minimize it.
That's what I'm saying is chopping boards. We don't know that that's been cleaned properly. People's eyes are not on 24/7. I can't watch everything. You can't watch everything. You know, someone
And
could...
when it's crazy busy, you know, it's really hard to...
No chance. But the reality of it is we will minimize at least as much as we can physically do. And that's the interesting thing. And that's what makes our job also quite interesting. But what I'm worried about is that we overload with so much information for something that's supposed to be quite simple. There's your 17 allergies, right? If you train the front of house properly on it, and they've got the folder,
they should be already the gate.
It's got every dish with every allergy on there. They should be able to go there with that folder quite happily and say, which dish were you interested in? The chicken with the celeriac and the onion. What are you allergic to? Celery. Well, you can't have the celeriac. That's another part of the celery. Oh, I didn't know that. But straight away, that folder then tells you that. They shouldn't have to come in and ask. But I've always said it. Just tell people. Hello, like to book a table. I've got one vegan. Is there a lot of option? Yeah, if you have a look on the website, you will see our current menu, blah, blah, blah. Let me know if she doesn't like any or he doesn't like anything on it. We'll just change it around. And that's the difference. So I can even go out before service, you know, if they get there a bit earlier, sit down at the table, just communicate. But I do find that people do expect far too much from us. They got to forget, what they're forgetting is most people that are chefs, they're not very intelligent, to be honest. Let's be honest. We're not coming out with A levels and you know all these kind of things. We literally, this is a job that you have to
You're
love.
learning on the job,
and we're learning every day. Yeah, but we don't do it because we can't use these kind of things. We're very practical. We're very practical creatures. When you give us tasks, we love it because it's a challenge. But give us a chance. Give us a chance to get it right. Don't just turn up and I'm looking for complaint. You know, and
there are people,
and that's how it feels. Sometimes you're like, wow.
Do you think that in Jersey more than in other places?
Nah, the world over. Yeah. It's the world over. You get your ass.
Well, that's happened basically in the past years where people.
You do. You experienced it. You must.
But it happens everywhere. It's true. It's true.
It's like, oh, I've got an allergy.
But I guess it depending on how you see it, because when you're in the kitchen, you feel like everybody's against us. You know, it's almost like, you know, the customers, they want this, they want that. You know, they're never happy. I guess it all depends in which position you are.
But how do you communicate it? If a waiter comes through, and there's two, is a prime example. They said it was shit. Did they? That's a bit rude. That's a bit rude. That's not constructive.
Yeah.
Well, what do they want me to do with it? Well, they want something else. Well, it's not shit. They just want something else. But now you've wound me up because you said it was shit.
Yeah.
It's not shit. It's not what they expected or it's not what they wanted. Maybe they chose wrong. Yeah. But that's where the waiter should be more into the customer to say, but can you tell me what's wrong with it so I can communicate it to the chef? It's not like a steak being overcooked. We need information. We're delicate little flowers. And if someone told you your food was shit every day, it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at what you sweat for, what you're stuck in that sweat box for, you're cooking, you're getting it ready, you believe in the product, you're buying the best of what you can, and then someone can not give you anything other than it's shit.
Yeah.
It's a bit rude.
Do you miss the times when we remember we had Marvin, for example, as a waiter, quite capable. So we had a few people there, you know, obviously situations where, you know, you've had arguments, they're inevitable, but they were top.
Yeah,
I mean, some of the guys, you know, they knew how to handle all sorts of situations.
What you need with front of house, and this is the biggest thing. I've got a food and beverage manager called Giza from Hungary. Fabulous, because he's to the point. He knows what we're offering, he knows what we're about, and he doesn't suffer any fools front of house. We will change a dish once, we won't change it twice. Okay, so that's a simple thing, but you need the support from the owners. There's got to be a point where you say, enough. What do you want here? We're offering a service. If that service isn't correct for you, then you need to leave. You need to get up and go because we can't help you.
It's not beneficial for either.
We can't help you, and it's not helping you sit there getting irate in front of all these guests that are enjoying their experience. There's a lot of people now that are more than happy to raise their voice like this in with other people trying to enjoy their food or enjoy the experience around them, and they try to bully the front of house, and then that is really bad show. So it's about managing that. So Geezer's been fabulous in that aspect, as was Lewis before. But the reality of it is that we are in the service industry. We're here to serve. We're here to do the best that we can so you walk away with the best experience. And that is when you turn the key on the door and you walk away happy. But things like that negativity that you get from guests, I want you to go the extra mile. I'm special. And every chef has experienced that. That sits with you for 1, 2, 3 days. It's like a dirty little seed that just won't go away.
Especially because you put that much effort in creating these menus.
Everybody does.
You know that the team works hard for it.
That's
but
the thing.
So do you get support from the owners in these situations where, it's like, well, that was unfair. We stand with our staff because...
This is where if you've got the right people at the top of the shop floor level, you don't need the management support. You've got it covered.
You can sort it out like on a lower level.
But everything is questionable, isn't it? So if they then go to TripAdvisor, Revenate, or send a letter, and it was disgusting how we were dealt with, and blah blah blah. So we've come up with this thing where we'll talk about it, being Geezer, and we'll say, does management need to know about this? Not really. Not as far as I'm concerned. We're completely covered. We've followed the protocol. What more do we need to know? Now, they must believe that we followed that protocol, which they do.
It's a trust situation.
It's a trust situation. So Mr. Dolan, for sure, he won't suffer these people. There's a degree where it has to stop.
Which is great.
And that's great because he believes in quality, and he believes in service, and he believes in what we all work for him to do. So, and ultimately Steve does as well. So when you question that, it has to be something pretty unusual or pretty severe, or it has to be someone that they know that, we've dropped the ball on, or someone's dropped the ball on, or someone's lying. Then you need to investigate it. I mean, there could be someone covering their ass. You never know. Yeah. Like I say, your eyes can't be everywhere. But as a company and as a restaurant and as a hotel, customer's number one.
Pays the bill.
But with the service that we offer, the service that we provide, don't.
They need to adapt to what.
Don't come and expect, because we can only do so much.
Well, it's kind of situations where, I didn't experience this, but I know some of the guys that I know experienced photographers or videographers. So you get into setting up a contract. So it's like, I'm going to do you, I don't know how many videos or how many photos, and this is the price. And then you sign it and it's like, let's do it. Yeah. And then you do the job and be like, well, it's not exactly what I expected. Well, you've seen my previous work. So it's almost like, why are you so surprised? Because it's in the same style as the previous ones. Why do you expect me to be totally different? So I guess it's the same with restaurants. Totally. You kind of know what to expect. If you don't fit.
In your job, you can go to any company with what you do because you've got your qualifications for that job, that role, the experiences on your CV. When you get there, the expectation of the people around you could be different, which can confuse you. Because they do it a different way and they expect you to do it a different way. Or there could be one facet to the operation that is going to be completely different. But the reality of it is that you ultimately know what you're doing. Yeah. But if you change what you're doing, then that's the only time you should be questioned.
True.
So it's whether your productivity isn't there, but you have your
consistency,
targets.
basically.
Absolutely.
If we're talking especially about restaurants, because if you're coming this week and you're coming the following, and the dish is different in terms of taste, in terms of the way it looks, well, that's a bit probably on you.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, I can look down the line on the chefs and I can see body language that will make me go, that's not normal. What have they done? And you can walk up and they've overcooked something or they've burnt it and they still think they're going to get away with serving it. So my eyes and my nose are always the two things. I don't have to watch all the time, but I can look at someone, just flick an eye and think, that's not normal. Yeah. What are you doing?
Experience.
And you see them go like that and you go, what? And you look at it and go, that's wrong. So just start again, please. And that's it. You don't need to say any more. And it's not about shouting. It's not about, throwing your toys out the pram. You can have that discussion with them after service if you feel that they were trying to take the piss. But
but keep the environment kind of like happy, and like a happy team till the end, and then have the conversation in private. Let's say
absolutely. But we're communicate. We're answerable to the waiters. We're answerable to the management. We're answerable to the room service. We're answerable to the bar. We cook for the staff. So if we haven't fed them properly, they're going to be shit in front of the house. So from our perspective, we've got our fingers in all these pies, and if we balls one up, we're in a whole world of trouble, aren't we? Whereas waiters deal with the restaurant, bar staff deal with the bar, housekeepers deal with that. Restaurant, there's each department, but from one department, we basically feed the whole hotel. Yeah, it still
shows how important the kitchen is.
I think so, yeah. But I think that's one thing that has changed. Is probably from the bad press of chefs is that maybe management don't regard kitchens as good as they should. They think we're all alcoholics, or we're all temperamental, and we're all egotistical. I think it's slowly become the other way, where they don't trust where they should. They should give them a bit more support, rather than take a chef out of the kitchen and then put the extra hours in the front of house. The balance has to be right, because there's so much more involved in it. And if you're not in it, and you never have been, which most management haven't, they all come through reception, through restaurants, they've got this built-in hate. We don't have that in our hotel.
Which is great.
Which is fabulous.
You need to work together. Yeah.
You remember our operations manager at the Royal Yacht?
Yeah.
He totally disdain for what you're trying to do, but that was ego. It was his own ego to deal with, and that's where he put that above what we were trying to give to the guest. So his ego was more important than everything. And like I said to you,
and ruined that relationship. You couldn't build it.
No, it was gone. It was gone. I mean, we had some great guys. We had Peter, who's now Sunfire. We had what was his name?
Pedro. Yeah, well, we did have a Pedro, but it was what was his name?
I can't think of his name.
I can't remember. I know.
We'll figure it later. Yeah. But we had some great people who were doing fantastic. Miguel, possibly. I can't remember, to be honest.
Was he Miguel? Anyway.
We had Nadia. We had some lovely, lovely, lovely people that were all great with guests. But it just goes to show that, and this is the thing. This is why, even at Michelin star level, it's not about just the chef.
Yeah.
It's not about the food. It's about the whole experience and offering. And the minute we start to think, that's when it will fragment and break. It needs to be, you don't have to like each other, but you must love the guest.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So make it work for the guest. Yeah.
Because they're the one paying my wages. Without them, what have I got? Yeah. I'm going to lose my job.
Yeah. No,
because empty restaurant, empty pocket.
True.
And no business will just flush money down the toilet, will they? So, and that's the thing, is that once you take ego out of everything and you just do your things, life's so much better.
Any predictions till next time we meet?
Well, yeah, I've got to be honest. The one thing I will say is, next time we speak, I guarantee you that Marcus would have done something very proactive for our industry, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get some stability in the financials. So maybe we can start to recover as an island with the hospitality industry.
Back to 2018,
back
17,
to something like that.
Yeah,
absolutely. Where we get a bit more consistency back, and I believe everyone will survive. That isn't already at the end of their retiring kind of thing. Rather than moving on the mantle. But like I say, I just wish everybody a good winter. And I hope you all get through it, really. I mean, that's the thing.
That's coming, and it's tough.
Well, we've had the longest winter that we've ever seen. And I mean, it's almost like Game of Thrones, isn't it?
Even
it's expecting the dead people to turn up. Jesus, it's been awful. But, hopefully, like I say, I'll give you Justin's details, but him and his wife would be fantastic, or future wife would be fantastic to get on here. He knows how to speak a lot more eloquent than me about the industry, and he's a bit more bullish. Because he runs his own business. Yeah, he's really good. I think
you got to be, because if you're in that position,
if
things probably are not exactly going how he wants them to, you got to show positivity and try to fight through it.
Tommy's got his own set of challenges. Callum's got his own set of challenges. We've all got challenges, and if we don't start to chip away at them, then these challenges are not other people are going to inherit them. And if they inherit them, then every time you inherit something, you never get the full package. There's always someone taking bits away. So it's about getting the island to stay fresh and come back to being a culinary destination again that it was, and as it should be. You know, we've got some fantastic growers, fantastic suppliers, and we've got a fantastic island with fantastic people. And ultimately, that's what we should be looking after and getting it right, because happiness attracts happiness.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Steve, it was a pleasure as always. I don't want to keep you for too long because I know you are a busy man.
Put family. The kids back, yeah.
Well, this is it. Yeah, someone's got to do that job as well.
Yeah, you'll be there soon.
I'll find out.
Your one will be screaming though for the beginning. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, yeah, amazing. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, podcast will not be a thing for a while, you know, because
you'll need it because it'll be a respite. You can just get away. Sorry, Don, I've got to do it. But it is. You can have a great time, and I wish you again great success with your wife, and hopefully when your baby comes, you'll give us a call.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely will. Thank you so much, Steve, once again. And till next time.
Always.